Hi, everybody. Dan Illman, Mike Beer. Race number 13 at Gulfstream Park on Florida Derby Saturday is the Appleton Stakes. We're going a mile on the turf for older horses. Before we take a look at the field, remember, last chance for free time form USPPs now in your DRFPPs. Go to DRF.com to access your past performances. You'll see the time form US tab. Click on it, access all the great features that Timeform US has available. Here's the field for the Appleton. And Mike, it's a pretty wide open group. The number 6, Steady On, is 3-1 on the morning line. This horse ran an okay second last time out in the Grade 3 Canadian turf, although you can argue that the horse drawn directly to his inside, the 5 Fort Washington, ran a better race with a little bit more trouble.
Yeah, they both ran pretty well in that race, I thought. I kind of get Steady On as being the morning line favorite in here. Dan, he's lightly raced. He has a good running style for this race because he has speed, but he doesn't really need the lead. So those things are both positives. I can't say I'm a huge fan of this horse, but he might be the horse to beat.
There does appear to be speed in this race, and as we throw up the Timeform US pace projector, you'll notice the red bar indicating an expected hot pace after the opening half mile. And the number 7, Win From Within, earned a graded stakes placing last time out, up close to the pace. County Final is a stretch-out sprinter that should show speed. Steady On has tactical speed. The key for Striker is whether he can be as effective from off the pace as he was on last time out in his turf debut.
Yeah, agreed. He ran pretty well in his turf debut last time when he was able to just sort of control things. The good news for him is, Dan, he ran really well in the first 2 starts of his career also, and he did it without the lead.
The number 1, He's Pure Gold, won't mind a fast pace at all. This is a multiple stakes winner against fellow New Jersey breds, making his 3rd start of the form cycle. Now, he finished up in mid-pack in the Tampa Bay last time out. He didn't have a great post position. I thought the trip all in all worked out. He rallied for a minor award.
I don't have anything to add to that. He ran fine in that race. What I like about him more than anything else in here, Dan, is he's got a good post and a good running style. And this is a horse who at least has shown some potential. I mean, after he won his first 2 starts last year, they gave him 1 shot in the UN, and then he never ran on turf again after that. He's come back in pretty good form this year.
The number 2 is Super Dormy, who was claimed 3 starts back for $50,000 and immediately paid dividends in his first start for New Connections. Now, they tried this horse in the Canadian turf last time out, and the pace was slow for the first half mile or so, and this horse just pulled wide on the outside, tried to get into the race, and he paid the price for his early efforts.
Yeah, he certainly did. I didn't love the tripper ride that he got last time, and it seemed like it cost him in the end. I guess he ran well 2 back off the claim, Dan. He earned a figure that makes him competitive. I mean, I can't say that I love him in this race, and I'm not totally convinced that he's better going longer, but he's certainly not impossible in here at a price.
The number 3, Gray's Fable, won this race way back in 2021. A mile is his distance. He's a multiple stakes winner going 8 furlongs, and he just got beat last time out by a half length to Super Dormy. That was his first race off the layoff. Maybe he can improve at a little bit of a price with Rosario aboard, 10-1 on the line.
Wouldn't be surprising if that were the case. We'll see how he runs here second off the layoff. He certainly ran fine last time. His speed seems like it's left him in his most recent starts anyway, Dan. He used to be a horse who was at his best on the lead, and that doesn't seem like it's the case anymore. We'll see if he works out the right kind of trip in this field.
The number 4, Striker, has obviously had his share of physical issues. He's a 5-year-old. He's only raced 5 times, but trainer Josie Carroll tried him on turf last time out and also added blinkers to the equation, and this was the result. Striker going right to the lead, setting a reasonable pace, sprinting on home to win. This was a good performance, as you mentioned, with a career best Beyer speed figure. I think he's found his home going middle distances on the turf. The question is, how will he deal with tougher competition and a tougher pace scenario?
Exactly. I mean, this is a step up in class for him. I thought he looked really good winning this race. He made the lead. He didn't have any trouble making the lead in that race, and he controlled things on the front end. But it's not like he was walking on the lead, Dan. I thought the pace was fair, if nothing else. And I just thought he looked good winning. A horse who, again, showed real potential early on without the lead. I think he's pretty dangerous in here.
The number 5 is Fort Washington, and this horse just has no early speed whatsoever. So trainer Shug McGahee, jockey Jose Ortiz are hoping that this pace is going to be fast. And last time out, Fort Washington braked very well. He was probably going to be last anyway, but then he had to kind of squeeze his way through in between horses in the stretch, altered down to the inside late. He would have gotten second in another stride, and he galloped out well ahead of the field.
Yeah, he ran well last time. I like the run that he put in, and he had to do it sort of down towards the inside through traffic. I thought he ran well his last two starts since Shug put the blinkers on him. I think it's really helped this horse, Dan. He's run well in both of those races. I still feel like there could be one more forward movement. I know he's already got 10 starts behind him. I think he could improve still as this year goes on.
Steady On finished ahead of Fort Washington last time out. We're going to show that replay in the Canadian turf. Now, Steady On got close to the pace. He prompted the big long shot, Safe Conduct, took over the lead, turning for home. You're going to see the number 4, Fort Washington, trying to weave his way through in between horses. Steady On has the lead. Fort Washington is rally, but Emmanuel, who might be one of the better turf horses in the country right now, gets the Duke as the favorite.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that could be your takeaway from that race, Dan, just that Emmanuel is a better horse than Steady On. And so that's, what ultimately led to that result. I still thought it was kind of a bad loss for Steady On. He got a great trip in there. He was clear in the stretch. He couldn't hold on. Again, he can win this race for sure. I feel like he's going to get a good trip in this race. I'm just not a huge fan, and I don't want a short price on him.
The number 7, Win From Within, won the Red Bank at Monmouth last year going a mile, but he sort of got loose that day, and that helped his chances. Last time out in the Grade 3 Tampa Bay, a race we'll show you right now, Win From Within had to battle for the early lead. He puts away the other pace pursuers, but here comes that Emmanuel again, who's going to get the better of Win From Within in the wire, and of course Emmanuel would come back to beat a couple of these at Gulfstream.
Yeah, just kind of more of the same for Win From Within. He's one of those horses who shows up every time. He uses his speed effectively. To me, it's just all about competition with him more than anything else. If he's in the right spot, he's really, really tough when they run him against better horses. It's hard for him to win, but I'll expect him to show up.
I can understand why the connections dipped in for 50 last time out for the number 8 Lucky Curlin. He's a horse with a good amount of back class. He ran in stakes races at Woodbine and the Fairgrounds earlier in his career, and it looked like maybe he's coming back to his best form. Here's his most recent start over course and distance at Gulfstream Park for the $50,000 tag. He does have the tactical speed to work out these kind of trips, and he's going to dead heat for the win.
Yeah, he's going to manage to save a share of this victory at the end of the race. Then he ran fine in here. The figure is going to need a boost as they move him way up in class for this one. As you mentioned, though, I mean, he's got, graded stakes or stakes credentials on both turf and synthetic. If you go way back, this feels like a pretty tough race for him, though.
3-month layoff for the number 9 Churchtown, another horse that could be part of this potentially crowded pace picture. I wonder if he's a little bit dirtied up off his last race, Mike, the Tropical Park Derby, a race that was won over the synthetic surface. He didn't have a good post position and couldn't get to his usual forward position.
Yeah, I don't care about that race for sure. He won the Gioponte 2-back over Steady On when he just got a great ride that day. He went to the lead in there. They sort of let him have it, and the pace wasn't fast. I still thought he ran well in there, though, Dan. And more than anything else, his races 2 and 3 back on the turf, he ran great in those races without the best trips in the race. So I just feel like even though he had all the best of it when he won the Gioponte, it doesn't really matter. I think this horse is pretty good.
Roaring 40s found a very good spot against fellow Florida breds last time out when upsetting the Sunshine Turf. We're going to watch that race going a mile and a 16th in mid-January, and Roaring 40s got to the lead, was able to shake loose on the backstretch, got a little bit of a breather, and he's just going to last. It was a very nice ride from Sean Bridgmohan. I'm not sure this trip is available to him here.
Yeah, it's not. And, it's a big step up in class for him. And he's another horse who probably just needs to catch a couple of different breaks here if he's going to be able to pull off another upset against a field like this.
The 11 county final is a solid turf sprinter, but this is a major distance test as well as a class quiz. Last time out, he was in the turf dash at Tampa Bay, and he just really didn't fire. He was outrun early. That winner, Chessmaster, is pretty good. Came back to run third for a $75,000 tag with an 88 buyer. But really, you would think his best chances if he gets to the lead, and the pace is going to be very fast. I'm worried about the distance.
Yeah, me too. I mean, you have to be worried about the distance with him. They're going to try something a little different with him here. He's got a post on the far outside. So if they want the lead, they're going to have to send him out of there. I think it's just going to be really hard for this horse to win.
Completing the field is another McGahee train runner, the 12, Dreams of Tomorrow, coming off of a victory in his final start of 2022. We're going to watch that race, a high-level allowance at Tampa Bay. And Mike, I thought he had a lot of things go his way. First of all, the odds-on favorite in this race was coming off of a lengthy layoff. 2, Dreams of Tomorrow had a perfect rail skimming trip.
He got a perfect trip in here. He gets the job done. It is a new top figure for him. We've seen this from Shug before. He keeps these horses around, and they tend to get better as they get older. Maybe that'll be the case for Dreams of Tomorrow. Dan, he's another horse. He's fine. I'm not a big fan of his. He's got a really tough post here.
We'll take a look at our top picks now for the $150,000 Appleton Stakes. Mike's going with Fort Washington. I just hate his running style, but maybe he gets the right setup in here. All he needs is a trip. I know he's going to be kicking in the lane.
Yeah, I hate his running style too. It feels like this race is going to set up pretty well for him, though, Dan. So I like that about him. I like his last 2 starts too, since the blinkers came on. I just think he fits right in this race. We'll see what kind of price he is. I don't really want to go too short on him in this race. Feels like he could take some money in here, but I like him in this spot.
Earlier in Striker's career, he did show the ability to rate and finish sprinting in a synthetic race. I'm hoping he can showcase those abilities in this longer mile event, even with the blinkers on. I think he can sit a trip in the second flight, and I think he still has a little bit of upside. 5-4-9-1 for Mike, 4-6-5-12 for me in the Appleton on Florida Derby Saturday. Good luck.